So at this point, you've probably heard the word tokens, blockchain, Ethereum. Maybe you've even heard about NFTs. You've heard about Coinbase, crypto, Binance, Web 3.0, DeFi, all of these buzzwords that are going around, and you've seen headlines that says 20 billion here, 20 million here, buy land in the metaverse, buy land in sand, and you're trying to understand, what does this mean? We're going to go through a series of videos, probably 8 to 10 videos, where we're discussing all of these things. How do you get started in investing in crypto? And also, not just so that you can buy the standard stuff that people are watching every day. How do you buy the non-listed tokens and currencies? What's a wallet, right? What does a wallet mean? What does a wallet look like? How do I take money from my account and put them into a wallet? What's a cold wallet, a hot wallet? What does any of this stuff mean? We're going to discuss that. In today's video, we're going to start off with the basics, which is, hey, Eric, how do I set up my account so I can start understanding, learning, playing with it, investing in it? But let me say a couple things before we even jump into this video today. First and foremost, the thing to know is that most of all of the tokens, most of all of the NFT projects are going to go to zero. That's right. So I just want to warn people out there, before we even get started, I'm not this hype guy that wants to hype everything up. I want to provide a lens from which people can see a different perspective, a different viewpoint. So the key to any investment, right, is understanding what you're getting into, understanding the mechanics behind it, understanding what are the value propositions that are being offered by these different platforms. And so that's where I think I'm going to distinguish from a lot of people out here that are just telling you, buy these 7 NFTs, buy these tokens, buy these coins, buy this, buy that, spend your money, right? And eventually there's going to be winners and losers like everything else in life. But with that said, this is a great time for folks out there, because since we are still on the cusp of what's happening with less than 10% of the population actually trading in currencies and tokens, there's still a fantastic opportunity for a lot of people out there to jump in, to get started, and to learn and understand this, because this is our future. Right over my shoulder, you'll see the book on the dollar crisis. This is not the first time that this has happened in the world. So there is nothing new under the sun, like they like to say. Unfortunately, most of us, we're not taught proper history or history at all, never to say the least. And so we don't know what these things have happened. And so we explain that as well in this upcoming video. Stay tuned, where we're going to talk about the basics of how do I even get money into my account and trading on a system. Thank you so much. All right, welcome with me over at the big screen. First thing I'd like to say is, if you are looking at trading crypto, tokens, NFTs, and understanding in that process, the first thing you gotta do is you gotta set up a Twitter account. As you see on my screen, this is my Twitter profile. It's at eCoffee, look me up. A lot of the recommendations for doing your research and understanding this involves being on Twitter. So if you don't have an account on Twitter, go over to Twitter and set you up an account, because the majority, well, someone has described it this way, is that Twitter is the Slack channel for crypto investors and NFT traders. So if you don't have a Twitter account, that's the first thing I do, is go out and set up a Twitter account. Now that you have a Twitter account set up, and even if you don't, you still can actually put money into one of the centralized systems, some of the popular systems, and begin trading. So we want to explain, what does that look like? And setting up that account, it's really easy to do. But remember, setting up the account is the easy part. Putting money in the easy part. Understanding what you're buying, well, that's where the challenges come in. And that's where it's going to require much more than a single video to explain to people out there, what do these tokens do? What do they mean? What's behind it? Understanding. And I'm not going to get into, again, you know me, I'm trying to simplify things as much as possible. But I do want to, for the person on the outside in, I want to give them a trusted resource that they can turn to ask questions. And I want to be that trusted resource for you. I know there's a lot of information going on out there, lots of scams, lots of things to be worried about. And so again, it does make sense for you to take caution and to not just jump in without fully understanding this. And by the way, what I'm showing you today, I've already helped dozens of friends do. And like the government contracting piece, it just kind of gets boring after a while, where I'm like helping the people do the same thing. So I want to explain that, so that way now I can take this video and send it to my buddies and say, hey, you want to set up an account? This is what you do. So let's jump right in. Over here, there's 3 main exchanges that I'm aware of. I'm not saying there's not more out there, but the ones that I'm aware of, Binance is an exchange you might have heard of. Crypto.com, They're the company that's actually behind sponsoring what was formerly the Staples Arena out in LA. Now it's called the Crypto Arena. And then Coinbase. Coinbase is a really popular one. They've got about 70 million users on Coinbase. So this is probably, out of all of the exchanges, Coinbase is probably the most popular one. And so I personally, I've tried Binance and I've tried Coinbase. And what I found was whenever you set these up, whenever you set up an account there, you're going to have to go through an authorization process, meaning you're going to have to show your ID, your driver's license front and back. You're going to have to take a picture and hold up your license with your picture. And for some reason, I had a really difficult time getting approved on Binance. But on Coinbase, it was easier. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't much easier. And so when we look at Binance, Coinbase, or crypto.com, these are centralized places where you can actually go, and they already, Coinbase.com, I think they went public just last year or maybe the beginning of this year. Binance, so again, by being a public company traded here like stocks like Walmart or Ford or Ryder, they've already been vetted by the US government. So everything there is safe. Oh, it says on the screen, 73 million people are using it. And so I really like Coinbase. I stand behind them totally. Everyone that I've set up accounts with, I've recommended Coinbase. So that's the first thing that we want to do, is we want to have you set up a Coinbase account. And in fact, when you set up that Coinbase account here, we're going to go ahead and explain how to set up a Coinbase account. Really, let me move my big head out the screen. Hold on. Here. Oh, nope, that's not a better angle. Let's go in, and where am I at? Webcam. Let's move myself off the window. There we go. Boom. All right, a little bit better. All right, it's better. All right, and I'm gonna just leave it open that way in case we have anything. So again, pretty straightforward, nothing complicated here. Just get started. Put in your name, email, password, choose your state, certify that you're over 18 years old, and then you go from there. I will say that if you want to use a reference code for someone here, it says get $5 for signing up Coinbase. So it tells you name to put in there. So again, if you see here, explore things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, trade, buy, sell, and trade, store hundreds of cryptocurrencies. And I really do, like I said, I've got it. I haven't used a credit card, but I do have Coinbase on my telephone. So I've got it on my phone, and I've been successful at making trades from my phone and also making trades from the internet. So again, I like Coinbase. I'm pretty sure Binance does the same thing, and I'm pretty sure crypto does the same thing. So again, it's really, for me, it's more of a preference than anything else. So I like Coinbase. So the first thing that I want to say to folks is, if you're considering getting into this, one of the things that I think a lot of people are not aware of is, in fact, that there is a period of time in which they hold your money. So from the time that you actually make the deposit to the time that you can actually do a trade, there is a waiting period. And when we go on to explain how do you start to move money from off of Coinbase into a wallet, let me show you an example of a wallet. Here's a wallet that I have. So if you start to move it, and then I have wallets that are actually on my computer screen. So when you get ready to move your money, which is the key to investing in currencies that are not currently on Coinbase, which is also one of the successful strategies for how do you participate in these historic upticks in value, then we're going to need to be able to trade that money. So the first thing that I always tell folks is, go ahead and set up your account on one of these sites. And once you set up an account, then go ahead and deposit whatever funds that you feel comfortable with. That way, that process can start happening right away. Because let's say, for example, you learn about trading a token or a coin that you hear about on the news, or a friend tells you, hey, buy, whatever this token is, and you decide that you want to trade that. Unfortunately, you cannot go in and instantly make that trade. So what I found is that I always recommend to people, if you're considering getting into this, if you're considering investing, then go ahead and jump in now. Put the money in the account. Even if you don't buy anything, put the money in the account and let that period of time, that grace period, whatever it is, 7 days, that grace period occur, so that when you are ready to discover and you decide that you want to do it, then you go through and set that up. So that would be the first recommendation for folks, is to do that. So once you've logged into your Coinbase account, you'll see a screen like this, and it'll say buy, sell, send, receive, buy, sell, convert, and allow you to take, and you can actually buy Bitcoin from your Bank of America account, or I've got PayPal, or a wire transfer. Let me see what options it gives us here. It's funny, I'm trying to click on my other screen. You'll see it lists 3 options out there, and I'm approved for this limit, and then PayPal and wire transfer. So it gives you options to actually buy Bitcoin. We don't necessarily buy Bitcoin. I actually, all of the transactions that I do primarily are on Ethereum. So I actually buy a lot of Ethereum, and then I send it out to other places to make my trades for NFTs, and to also buy other tokens that are not listed here on Coinbase. When you're on the Coinbase site, it talks about tradable assets. You'll see, for example, it says all assets. They'll show you here what you have that's tradable, but also shows you things that you can watch. And there's certain items on here that are listed that you cannot trade. And so that's where we discuss later on in upcoming videos, how do you buy assets that are not currently traded on Coinbase, crypto, or Binance. And those are things we're going to discuss in later lessons. But the first thing that everyone has to know is that you've got to set up an account in one of these centralized platforms. You've got to deposit money in your account, and you've got to wait that grace period. Once you've done that, then we can talk about the next step, which is sending money from Coinbase or one of these centralized platforms to an outside wallet. And we'll discuss that in the next coming video. How do you send money from here to a wallet? And also, what are some of the differences in wallets? What do they use for? How to use wallets? And also, as always, how to keep it safe and how to protect yourself. So I think that's very important. Mind you that this, again, one of the things that you may have read some news about the decline of Bitcoin and Bitcoin going to zero and all this kind of jazz. But what's funny is that the reality is that I want to show you this on the screen. The reality is that more and more countries who, as a result of their currencies being completely devalued, are using Bitcoin and using tokens and crypto as a means of exchanging for goods and services. Because just like what happened to us here in the book, The Dollar Crisis, just like what happened to us, where we could not cover our debt in paying back for gold, right? We had to change the system that we used. That's the same thing that you're now saying that's happening with other countries, is that as a result here, where it says there are places where they're developing worlds, okay? So where it says, look, the economic policy sparks significant distrust, right? We're not too far behind here in America, believe it or not. We're not too far behind. It says that their IRAs become so volatile that they've ditched local currency and asset for cryptocurrencies. Now, they say even riskier reputation because crypto seems to go up and down. However, it's almost like when people talk about Tesla and the guys that kept shorting Tesla, right? And so if you were bullish on Tesla coming all the way up, you would have made a fortune on Tesla. And there's a guys kept shorting it. That's the same thing that's happening with crypto. Yes, it's funny because crypto is down today, right? And we're saying, okay, crypto is down, historically down. However, I remember something that I think is really, really important to note. When the real estate market crashed in 2008, and it went like to hell and high water, then unfortunately, most people by human nature are trained to think negative. And so they decided that, oh my gosh, real estate's a terrible investment. It's a poor investment. Let me not do real estate. The sophisticated investors are like, oh my gosh, this real estate is so cheap. It's pennies on the dollar. that I'm going to gobble up as much real estate as I want to, right? And so those people that were wise, that went against the grain, that was like what Warren Buffett says, when the masses are greedy, you should be fearful. And when the masses are fearful, that's when you should be greedy. And so while everybody else was fearful, the sophisticated investors were really greedy and they went all in and they gobbled up the land and they gobbled up real estate. And now when you fast forward, right, to 2022, 21, everybody's going, oh my gosh, the real estate market, it's so high, it's crazy. Like, I can't buy a house. I can wait for the next crash. But you say that, and then when the next crash occurs, then guess what happens? You're going to get afraid again, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, real estate's not a good investment because everything crashed. So your psychology is going to teach you different. That's the same thing that's happened with crypto. Whenever the crypto crashes, people go, oh my gosh, it's a terrible investment. We shouldn't do it. And then when it rises, skyrockets from its previous highs, from that time, from the year that preceded that, they go, oh my gosh, crypto is so expensive, I can't buy it. So again, you have to be sophisticated enough to see beyond your fears, beyond your self-doubts, to understand that, or even if you're not sophisticated, educate yourself. Read a book. And understand. Do your research. Look it up. It says here, the arrangements put in place at Bretton Woods worked exceptionally well for more than 20 years, but began to come under strain in the second half of the 1960s. At that time, a number of factors, including heavy investment by U.S. corporations overseas and United States rapidly increasing military expenditure in Vietnam, contributed to a deterioration of the country's balance of payments. Other countries, which found themselves holding increasing amounts of dollars, began exchanging their dollar reserves for gold at the U.S. Federal Reserve. Initially, there was little concern about the amounts involved because they were relatively small, but in the second half of the 1960s, they began to cause unease in Washington. By 1971, the trickle of gold leaving Fort Knox had become torrent. In August of that year, President Nixon suspended the convertibility of dollars into gold. Subsequent attempts to patch up the system failed, and in 1973, the major trading powers agreed to allow their currencies to float freely against one another. So again, educate yourself and learn, right, why this is happening, and also understand that this hasn't happened before. A lot of the people, they say that the winners write history. A lot of times that the reason why they're not teaching us this in history is because they don't want us to know and to understand, and that so we can be surprised, right? Until you're caught off guard, like, oh my gosh, this is such a new phenomenon. This is not a new phenomenon. This is not the first time this is happening. This has happened in history. And so now we're seeing it repeat itself, and people are surprised by what's, the results and how folks feel. And so again, this is not the first time where countries, currencies have completely went to zero. I was actually in Cuba, and I remember being in Cuba, and they actually created a separate set of currencies, right? So the first currency went to worthless, and they created a second fiat money that they then assigned a value to. So this is not new. This has not happened. You actually, with the fact that since around the end of the year, beginning of this year, the fact that all of the crypto slid and came back is positive for people like yourself who are new, who are coming into this, to get a chance to you witness the crypto at its highs. So you see that, so you have that data to say, okay, it was, Bitcoin was at 49,000, Ethereum was at 3,900. You had this framework to go from, to then go in and say, okay, so now actually it makes sense, even more sense, because the potential that it has to go up. And so that's all I'm saying, and that's the way that I look at it. That's the way I see it. Again, these are my opinions. These are not facts, but the fact does remain that this has happened in the past. The fact does remain that they have been at historic highs in the past, so that you have a high probability that they're going to return back to those things. So again, when you start to learn and understand why this makes sense, you'll realize why that all of the traditional industry providers do not want this to happen, because now this is allowing for us to do peer-to-peer trading and bartering like before, which preceded banks and the banking industry and Wall Street. And how is that a good thing for them? It's not. So of course they're not going to support it or be behind it, but you are seeing some changes. And I've seen some articles where there are certain billionaires who are now putting all their money in crypto. And so again, there's hold on, where is it at? I'm pull up on the screen over here. Give me a second. All right, look, billionaire investor Bill Meyer has 50% of his personal wealth in Bitcoin. So again, there are more and more stories that's happening because again, they can pick, like, just like the news will tell you, hey, be careful about, doing this, but they're doing something different. Watch what the people are doing, not what they're saying. Watch their actions. So look at their actions, look at their activity. That's how you guide, right, the decisions you should make. So again, and this is not one or two examples. There's a ton of examples. Do your research. You got the world's most powerful computer right here in your hands. So do your research, dig into more, and then in the next video, we're going to discuss how to actually take it from out of Coinbase or Binance or crypto and put it into a wallet.